Welcome to the Rebirth of the PestGeekPodcast.
Pull out your hose and grab your can. We're about to integrate another Pest Geek podcast. Hi, everybody. Frank Hernandez here, and welcome to the Pest Geek Podcast, bringing you the latest information on pests, products, and politics from today's leading industry sources to help you start, manage, and grow your pest control business.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to this edition of the Pest Geek Podcast. I am your host, Frank Hernandez, and boy, have I taken a hiatus from doing this. And it's been, believe it or not, 6 months. We did our last broadcast at the end of February, and with intention of launching a new podcast in March. And a lot of things started to happen in our business that took me away from having the time to do this podcast, which I thoroughly enjoy. And from what I understand, a lot of people have been missing. I've gotten a lot of emails, a lot of IMs, a lot of people on the groups. When is the podcast coming back? And I keep promising it's going to come back. And it's going to come back, and it's going to come back. And well, here it is. It's back. And I've done a lot of restructuring in the company, done a lot of things personally, restructuring in my life. Done a lot of things that I'm going to restructure in this podcast. And it's all about being lean. And lean means that we're going back, constantly reevaluating what we're doing, getting rid of waste in our business, in our lives, and in everything, and simplifying to get a better product. And I'm hoping that that's the case with the podcast. And I'm a little rusty. I haven't been on the air for 6 months. So, forgive me if I'm not my typical self. But no, I'm doing great. The business is doing really great. And we've taken off a lot of things in a lot of areas that we didn't plan. And all of a sudden, things happen that get out of control in a very nice way, and you have to scramble to make things happen. That's part of being in business. But let me tell you what's been happening for the last 6 months, to be more specific. We went ahead and back in about the time I stopped the podcast, we had to redo our website. And we invested a lot of money in the last 3 years in our website, in developing the SEO, in ranking in the marketplace, where we get a lot of our business from online marketing, and that's the majority of our advertising is invested in online marketing. A lot of people would never take that leap and never think about taking that leap. But understand that that's the background I come from. I come from an IT background and a programming background. To me, this is not weird to go 100% online. And we used to have the traditional advertising, and we had the traditional referral business and the traditional everything. And it worked for a while, but we're in a hyper-competitive market. This is the 6th largest market in the country. Miami-Dade County is very competitive, very cutthroat. Advertising rates here are through the roof. They continue to go up about 18% a year, yet their results decline every year. And why is that? Well, because there's still people willing to pay for it to go after certain business that they use traditional advertising when everything is moving online. And so 4 years ago, I decided we're going to rebrand. We're going to do a relaunch of a new company. And here we are 3 years later, just really rocking along, doing better than I really, really thought we would do. And, we did the entire website rebrand because it was 3 years old. Believe it or not, a 3-year-old website with mobile marketing being the number one place where people have their face buried. If your website is not really responsive in mobile, and it's not really cutting it in mobile, you're not going to get any traffic. People are just going to ignore you. And we had to redo the website, and we thought it was going to be down for 3 to 4 days. Well, it turned out it was down for 30 days while they get everything done. And while I was working on a bunch of things, and we couldn't have we didn't want to do a dummy site and then having to go through all that file upload, and a lot of things happen. So, it's only going to be a couple days. We're going to install a new skin on it, a new template. And the template was a really complicated template because it has an interior, what do you call this? Component where you actually have a designer inside the template. Very, very high-end template. And a composer. And it had a composer. And there's a learning curve on that, getting that done and getting everything we wanted. And we had to really scramble to go online. And so we didn't lose any of the customers, any of the traffic, any of that. Well, we lost a lot of traffic because it was down. And while we were doing the updates and all that, but we had to scramble so we didn't lose any of the online business. And we still got the calls and we still got all the traffic that we could from the online. And then it was a whole process of getting that website, because you took a hit on Google, and getting that site up again and getting it running and getting it to where you're ranking again, because you lost ranking. And that was a lot of work. A lot of SEO work went into that. A lot of people have no clue what it takes to get SEO to rank. And you got companies out there going, hey, we'll do your SEO for $99 a month. And then others will do it for $200. We'll do it for $300. We'll do it for $600. We'll do it for $1,000. We'll do it for $3,000. Nobody knows what the heck you're buying from an SEO company when you're getting SEO, because nobody understands really what SEO is. And we're going to be doing a bunch of podcasts on SEO to demystify, because there's a lot of people out there getting ripped off by SEO companies that don't know the faintest thing about what they're doing. And they behave just like a lot of pest control companies in our industry, where they show up to your door, they leave a bill and never do anything. And there's a lot of them out there. So we're going to be discussing what it really takes to rank. What is SEO? What is it going to take for you to get really, if you're serious about getting online business, what is that really going to take? All right. And so we're going to be doing a ton of podcasts updating you on the latest SEO trends for 2017. That's going to be coming up in the next couple of podcasts. And, so that was a huge hurdle that we overcame. You never know what you're made out of until you have to actually do something. And that is the major source of your, it's kind of like if you have a magazine and that was the major source of your income and the magazine went out of business, and you have to scramble to figure out how you're going to continue to get the leads. And that's what happened. Our sales doubled in the last 4 months. Talk about 100% growth, almost about, we had probably more than a 40. So it almost doubled our business. If you get a 50% growth, that's just like murder. We had that experience last year with a 32% growth for the entire year, and that was scrambling us to move and get things done. A lot of innovation that I do is innovate a lot of the things that we do in the business to automate them, so we don't have to do it manually. And that keeps us from having to hire people to do what most people do manually, automated completely. Invoicing completely automated, scheduling completely automated. Everything that we're doing, our sales process, we have a sales process that's almost it's probably about 50% automated. We're automating the rest of that probably by the end of the year. It's probably going to take us about that long to get that part automated. And our business literally has doubled. We've been trying to hire. That's one of the biggest challenges that this business has. And it's going to be the biggest challenge you ever have if you want to grow to the point to where you can't find in a lot of marketplaces, you can't find the qualified people to do the work. Miami is one of those towns where there's a lot of people unemployed. Unemployment is a lot higher, but it's also a minimum wage state. And you have a lot of uneducated people here who don't have higher education. People who can only do menial jobs. I mean, when you walk into a fast food place, I remember as a kid, even as a young adult, walking into a fast food place and seeing nothing but teenagers working in there. Today, you walk into a fast food place and everybody in there is over the age of 55. There are no jobs available for these teens in the summer to be able to work, because a lot of people who got displaced who never made it back into the workforce where the jobs they had, or they're coming in. We have a lot of high immigration, legal and illegal, in South Florida. And so you get a lot of people coming in who can't speak the language. So we're very limited. I mean, 65% Hispanic, but a lot of people don't read or write English. And it's a demand that we have to hire people that they have to read and write English because they can't interpret labels. And then we want people to grow, and we want people to become certified. And we can't get them certified because they're not going to ever be able to pass the exams. So big challenges in our market that you might not face in yours. If you're in a top 6, top 10 market, you understand this. It's very, very tough. If you have people with that many people, with that many cultures in one place, it gets really hectic. And a lot of people don't have the attitude. And if they have the attitude, they don't have the aptitude to do this job. This job takes a special person to do. I've been interviewing like crazy. We've hired several people that we've had to fire immediately. I mean, within weeks, within 4 weeks, 5 weeks, we've had to fire them because we realized they're not going to work out. And before we string them along, before we try to fix them, we realize it. And that's the challenge that we have in this industry. The biggest challenge, I think, is finding the qualified people. And we're going to be discussing a lot of that in the next couple of podcasts about, the hiring process that a lot of people, we have a process. I've been involved in hiring before. I've done a lot of hiring. So it's not, but it's still a laborious, no matter how many times you do it, no matter how good you are at it, it still takes an enormous amount of effort to go through application after application, to go after candidate after candidate, to do background checks, to do all that's required to get a good candidate. And when you're in a market that you have 1.8 million people, you get everything. In a small town, you probably go to church with the people you're hiring. You know them that well. Here, it's nobody knows who anybody is. So you have to go through a severe amount of background checks because you don't know who anybody is. So that's been the number one thing that we have been going through, is getting the qualified people. We will not hire technically from the industry, and we're going to be discussing why we don't hire from the industry. That's one of the biggest challenges that we have. Everybody wants to quit the place they're at because they're overworked and they're burned out. And burned out employees will make terrible employees for you, unless they're not burned out yet. And most of the people here have either been badly trained or burned out already. And that's one of the challenges that we're having. I've been doing a lot of listening to the people that write into us and tell us about what they want in the podcast and the format. And we're going to be making some huge changes to this format, because a lot of people have requested a change to the format. We've been listening about, what the podcast is bringing to the table in the industry. So we're going to be doing some changes there. What would it be like? It's going to be a lot shorter than what we've been doing. Less information all bundled together, where it's more targeted, more specific, more streamlined, and very to the point, shorter, very much shorter than what we've been doing. And because I believe in lean, like I said, I look at lean, and more isn't better. Better is better. And if we can get you the information you need, the information you want, we got to stay true to our promise, our brand promise that we made originally, because that brand promise was based on what I saw in the industry that the industry needs. And we're going to be doing that with the brand to try to help people grow. The whole purpose of this podcast is to help you grow. Whether you want to grow as a tech, whether you want to grow personally, whether you want to grow in your business, whether you want to grow your business, wherever level you are on, that's what we're going to be doing with the podcast, and staying true to the promise we made. Go back and listen to the first podcast and what we're all about. And it really, the industry really needs good training. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to see you guys next time. Have a great one.
Thank you for listening to the Pest Geek Podcast. If you have enjoyed the Pest Geek Podcast, please give us a rating, write a review, or subscribe to the channel. You can join the Pest Geek Society by visiting PestGeekPodcast.com. Thank you for listening. See you next time.